Viewers could turn to 24-hour cable news for the proceedings, or even check the new internet for updates, drawing their own conclusions long before a verdict was announced. It was into this environment that fans began to consume the NFL draft. And, guilty or not, there was enough smoke surrounding Warren Sapp that teams ran from the fire.
Poor Warren. Now back in New York, Warren Sapp still hopeful.
What happened was, once a couple teams begin to back away from a player who should have been drafted higher, then everybody begins to back away.
We've had a trade and a pick. San Francisco 49ers acquired Cleveland's choice, and San Francisco selected wide receiver from UCLA, J.J. Stokes.
Whoa!
It was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. They took my mother to New York City and proceeded to lie on me and put me in front of the national television audience for 2 hours and 45 minutes. And if Brady Quinn ain't sitting there or Aaron Rodgers ain't sitting there until the 24th pick, guess who's the poster child for still dropping in the draft? Me.
It's taking a long time for me.
So where is Warren Sapp going to go? Now, the Minnesota Vikings have Dennis Green as their coach, Tony Dungy as their defensive coordinator. You couldn't ask for a better player for what they want to do out of 3 technique than Warren Sapp.
And I didn't really spend a lot of time looking at Warren because it looked like he was going to be a top 5 pick for sure.
Talked to Tony Dungy this morning and said, Tony, what if he slips to number 11? He says, hey, the guy's never missed a practice. He's never slowed down in a game. If Warren Sapp falls to number 11, he personally would love to have him. So I think if the Minnesota Vikings aren't the perfect fit for Warren Sapp, that's almost an admission by them that these drug reports have had some sort of effect.
Gosh, I'm sitting there watching Sapp in that room, and nobody's taking him, and he's getting close to us, and I'm starting to get excited. I'm thinking, we got to take this guy. This is Joe Green.
With the 11th pick in the first round, the Minnesota Vikings select defensive end from Florida State, Derrick Alexander.
Ooh. Derrick Alexander is a fine player, but certainly was not as high up as Warren Sapp.
Absolutely right, Chris. There's no way you can rate Alexander as high as Warren Sapp. Warren, right now, the emotions.
I mean, it's just a tough situation. I'm just sitting here waiting around, but I mean, it's not that tough.
You're Drew Rosenhaus as the agent. What are you hearing on the phones right now?
Well, my phone's ringing right now, so I think it's going to be any second. Literally, this could be the key call. Let's see.
Let's do it.
Hello, Rosenhaus. Yes. Yes, Sherry. Okay, you got it. I got to take this call, guys, okay? This is important. Thank you.
Well, obviously it is an important.
The call was from the Buccaneers' war room, where General Manager Rich McKay sought to remake a team that had reverted to its expansion origins.
The Bucs franchise prior to the '95 draft was not good. We kind of invented losing.
Wake up! You're looking at me like I'm not even talking. You're not hearing me.
So we really were looking at it as a moment in time where we needed to move the needle and move in the right direction in a hurry.
Right. Tampa Bay.
Lo and behold, 12 picks later, I'm landing in Tampa with 12 consecutive double-digit loss seasons. The yucks. They were the worst, and now I was a part of this.
Let me say this, Joe. When it's all said and done about 4 or 5 years from now, I'll put my money on Warren Sapp being the best player in the NFL.
The risk was worth the reward for the Bucs. And with the picks acquired from the trade down with the Eagles, they gambled again on an undersized linebacker named Derrick Brooks.
The teams that asked me to work out individually wanted me to work out as a strong safety. I told them in my heart of hearts, I wanted to prove that I was an NFL linebacker.
Was he too small? Yes, he was too small. But we had been a franchise that had been living off of the guys that could jump the highest, run the fastest, do the 3-cone test, all those things that don't necessarily translate to playing football. We were taking all of them, and we weren't doing that anymore. We were going to take guys that were productive, and Derrick Brooks defined productive.
You got 2 players that are going to start for this football team. I guess the only question, Sam, is can the Canes and the Knowles play together?
Warren and I, we knew each other since our senior year in high school. We were on the same all-star team for the state of Florida.
He was just 17 and I was 18 at the time. So I'm a tight end. We get to go up against each other. So he lines up and I put the move on him. Left him at the line, I'm playing tight end. Caught the ball and this guy came screaming across my face. I dropped the ball. I said, holy. I mean, the fastest football player I've ever been around in my life. Had no idea that 4 years later, we'd be on the same team trying to build the worst NFL team into a champion.
I was sick after that draft. I just missed out on the two players who I thought were the best fit for what we did on defense with the Vikings. And little did I know, the next year, I'm the head coach of the Buccaneers, and these two Hall of Famers are sitting right there for us.
From that point on, the Buccaneers really became a team defined by their defense. And really, those two guys, along with John Lynch, became the cornerstone of the Tampa Bay defense that ultimately won them a Super Bowl.
Sapp's got it. He laterals. Touchdown, Derrick Brooks. 4 games in a row, the Bucs have scored a defensive touchdown.
In 2002, the Tampa defense scored 9 defensive touchdowns, leading the Buccaneers to a Super Bowl title.
Intercepted. Derrick Brooks all the way. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
A title that had its roots in the 1995 draft.
I've never been in a draft room where people weren't excited. I've never been in the draft room where everybody doesn't shake and say, hey, we did it exactly like we wanted. It's never true, okay? You're always that doubt. In that one, I will say that we honestly walked out and said, now that is going to change things.
In a draft with 3 Hall of Fame players, the Bucs ended up with 2 of them.